Hello, my name is Abe, and today we are going to be taking a look at Crying Suns. Crying Suns was released back in September 2019, and originally got on my radar after seeing it on the Steam Labs Recommender. What is Crying Suns? Well, have you ever played FTL Faster Than Light? Because it's FTL. And if you've never seen FTL, you really should check out my playlists on that game because FTL is great. But if you've never seen it, that's alright, I'm just going to be using it as a point of comparison and we'll go through all the details. Crying Suns is a tactical rogue-lite exploration game filled with random events. You command a battleship and travel across a galaxy exploring randomly created sectors filled with both positive and negative events and encounters. Ship combats, shops, quest encounters. Your choices at events can yield positive and negative results. Your resources and crew can be leveraged to provide you with advantages and the best chances of success, and each combat could be your last if you mess it up enough. Before I start showing off the gameplay of Crying Suns, I would like to note that I'm playing the free demo of the game available on Steam. The demo contains some events and items, and the first 2 sectors of the first story chapter. I think there's 6 chapters, maybe 7. So if you want to check out the game for yourself, check out the demo on Steam. And as we jump into the tutorial, I will be skipping much of the dialogue, but I feel it is worth pointing out that unlike FTL, Crying Suns has a much deeper and darker plot. There are many points in the game where you can get additional lore and story information, but I am going to skip most of that just to get through it because I want to get into the gameplay. Although if I do a playthrough of the game, I would go through all of the dialogue options. Where am I? A dwarf planet on the Outer Rim. Most call it Gehenna, if they call it anything at all. This admiral is a top-secret cloning facility for the Imperial Forces, the one and only of its kind. I am Caliban, its Omni Guardian. I don't understand. You have died, Admiral, or to put another way, the true version of you has died. You are his clone, identical to the original Ellis Idaho in every possible way with some minor differences. When did Admiral Idaho die? How? Unfortunately, I do not know the details of my clones' lives, as interesting as they must be. Extraneous to my directives, I believe. Which leads me to why I've awoken you. You must be curious after all. I need your help. A machine asking for my help. Now I truly feel strange. Not just a machine, Admiral, an Omni, short for Omni-Mechanical Neo-N Intelligence. Emperor Oberon invented us. Now your kind relies on us for just about everything. I'll come right out with it. I believe the Empire is in danger. In danger? What in the name of Oberon are you talking about? Once every 4 years, under the most secretive of protocols, I receive a single transmission from Elysium, our capital. Those transmissions stopped arriving. So you send a transmission yourself? I don't see the problem. That's just it, I can't. This facility was built in such a way to prevent it from initializing contact with the Empire, to help keep it a secret. Something is wrong, I am certain of it, and I've awoken you so that we can fly out of here in an Omega-class battleship no less and see for ourselves. I believe you'll find my intelligence indispensable for our mission, Admiral. I don't have your kind's limitations. If you're so smart, what do you need me for? Why don't you command the battleship? Because of Oberon's Rubicon, it prevents Omnis from commanding battleships. War is a human prerogative. Also, since I can assume the clones here are the best of the best, that would make you the best Imperial Admiral to ever exist. I'd say you're perfect for the job. I'll do it, machine, for Oberon and the Empire. It's my duty as an Imperial Admiral. Excellent. Now, just one more thing. Standard operating procedures require I ask, can you recall any of your emotional memories? Emotional memories? Any memories linked to a strong emotion like love or hate? These memories, because of their complex neural pathways, will be trickier for you to access. I'm not sure. Then if you would do me the honor of trying to recall one, any emotional memory will do. I can't. So much is blurred, broken apart. Don't worry, Admiral, perfectly normal for the stage. You'll find rational memories, on the other hand. Those linked to Idaho's training and combat experience almost immediately accessible. Just ask me if you need a refresher. Lastly, and this is important, if these emotional memories return, rather when they return, you must tell me immediately. It's important for your safety. Yes, your safety. Do you understand? I understand. Perfect. Now let's wake up the rest of the crew, shall we? We don't have a moment to waste. And please, Admiral, what is it now, machine? Call me Caliban. Your runs in Crying Suns begins with a ship selector. As you complete the game and complete the various chapters, you can unlock different battleships, which I know literally nothing about them, but I imagine they have different, not only starting criteria as far as upgrades and starting units, but possibly different, passive benefits and whatnot. You have fuel, and if you played FTL, you know exactly what your fuel does, which basically means you can travel between sector to sector. Scrap, which is money. Commandos, which are your trained soldiers that can be sent on expedition or used during events. You need commandos in order to exert your physical presence when you're not aboard your battleship. You have auxiliary systems, which are kind of like augmentations from FTL, just passive benefits. Various upgrade levels for things like subsystems, hull, weapons, and squadrons. You have some starting squadrons, a weapon for your ship, difficulty selector, and your officer selection, which is a very big part of your run. And in fact, your battleship isn't really modifiable, at least not now at this state of the gameplay. Maybe the other battleships can be unlockable. Maybe you'll unlock a way to modify your squads. But right now, your battleship is set. Your officers are what you actually change in between runs. This is how you give yourself a little bit of a different chance. All officers have an ability: proximity repair, guerrilla tactics, tactical weapon, or famous shop prices when sold ×2. Lovely. And your officers also gain skills, or I should say they have skills. Usually your officers have 2 skills in certain categories like combat and piloting, persuasion, sharp senses, discretion, hacking, engineering, and whatnot. These skills are very important because they allow you to use your officers in special events throughout the game. Let's say you come across a ship and you need to have someone discreetly get on board the enemy ship and take a look around and see what's actually going on. Well, you might want someone who's good at discretion. Maybe there is a ship that's on self-destruct and you want someone to hack the system. Maybe you are in an asteroid field and you need an officer who's a great pilot, and you need this person to safely navigate your ship through the asteroid field. Well, if you have a officer with a matching skill, you can take advantage of positive outcomes from those events. Skills are also used for officer away missions, which you can send your officers on to gain resources. But we're just going to take 2 pretty much at random. Why don't we go guerrilla tactics and tactical weapon, just because they are here. And we will begin our first run of Crying Suns. It's going to begin in a tutorial system, and after the tutorial system you can freely explore the sector of space that we are on. And again, I am going to be skipping a lot of the dialogue here, but basically we are on the very outside edge of the Galactic Empire. We're going to be making our way to the right into the center, but this is sector 1 of 3. There's going to be 3 sectors, about 5 systems per sector. We're just going to go to the first one because that's the only one we can go to, the tutorial sector. Every jump requires 1 fuel, and jumping to the individual events within the system also require fuel. So we're going to need like 6 fuel to do everything here. But right now, let's just go to the system to get more tutorialization. How do you get fuel? Well, this here is basically a fuel cube. The AIs had at one point in the past have been created by the Empire. They created advanced technologies like faster than light travel and communications, and also a way of accumulating this super fuel. Look, there's probably a lore reason for how it actually exists. I've probably just forgotten about it. And this is one of the long forgotten fuel cubes that has accumulated power from the sun, basically. I don't know, you could call it a giant solar reactor or energizer battery or something. We're gonna send an away team over to the cube to get some fuel. And every system you jump to has one of these, and it gives you a random amount of fuel. Let me just get through this little bit of tutorialization here. So we can scavenge fuel from these Neo-N hypercubes. We can randomly get 1, 2, or 3 fuel, and you can upgrade this by spending scrap on your ship to get more fuel out of this. You can also find fuel in events, you can just buy fuel from shops, but you do need to have fuel in order to keep jumping your ship. So we're gonna scavenge fuel from this giant space battery. We got 1. Low roll, but that is still fine, we have plenty to go for now. And now that we've done that, let's go to the local system map and check out the events that we have here. We have an unidentified event, a station, an anomalous signal, it could be anything, and a planet, with an away mission that we could send our officers on this planet. But because this is the tutorial, we can only go to the unidentified beacon within this system here. Sir, battleship, 12 o'clock. What type of battleship? Couldn't say, I've never seen anything like this. It's a scrapper! An Imperial battleship made from Telos tech, my mouth is watering. This is the Admiral, stand down, Captain. Imperial sector, that's funny. Well, these guys are certainly full of themselves. Now, if you've ever played FTL, the combat in FTL is ship versus ship. This is a lot more tactical. You actually deploy squadrons on a battlefield and control the squadrons on a battlefield in the combat of Crying Suns. Your ship is on the bottom and the left, the enemy ship is on the top and the right. We have a battleship that has 3 components, like 3 main areas: hull, squadrons, and weapons, as does the enemy ship, hull, squadrons, and weapons. Our hull has 80 HP, and we have 2 hull bars, so if one is destroyed, we actually have another one to fall back on. The enemy hull only has 50 HP. We have squadrons, and we can deploy up to 2 squadrons right now. You unlock more as the tutorial progresses and as you upgrade your ship. And we have a weapon that we can also deploy. The enemy ship has no weapons, and they only have a single squadron, a drone, that is currently patched because it was, I don't know, previously wrecked. The icon next to the enemy's squadrons lists how many squadrons they will field on this combat. They can only field 1. Once we destroy the enemy squadron, they will not have any more, and then we can just kill them because they have no weapons. So first thing we're gonna do is get a weapon charging. We're gonna get a squadron out. Let's just put out some basic fighters, then we will unpause. So the enemy has deployed their drones. They're going to attack me somewhere. And we have fighters that we can send to kill their drones or ignore them and attack their battleship, but we might as well attack their drones first. They are patched after all, they have lower health. And then after we have taken out their drones, we will send our fighters up to take out their... We can either take out their weapons, their squadrons, or their hull. If we take out their weapons or their squadrons, we will temporarily halt the system for a short period of time. So with the squadron system, as soon as we did enough damage to it, we kind of locked it out. So now for the next 5 seconds, it can't do anything. And it was previously locked out because we had destroyed one of the squadrons. So now it can't do anything for 8 seconds as we just keep shooting it. And we have a gun, let's just shoot it. Don't forget about your guns. So we get 53 scrap from that fight. There's a lot more to the combat. We're gonna get to it. It's just a tutorial after all. That's just the initial tutorialization. So this event was just an enemy battleship, and there it goes. I will say this game is very pretty, and the music is great too. So we're gonna go to the local system map and go to the station. We have 98 scrap. Maybe we can buy something? An Imperial outpost, it seems abandoned. Okay, I remember this. So I'm gonna be skipping the dialogue here, but basically this is saying, hey, the Omnis, the AIs, they were originally invented by the Empire in order to help manage the vast galactic empire. They created more advanced AIs themselves, machines making machines, and also created a lot of the technology that exists in the Empire. Faster than light travel, the hypercubes that provide starship fuel, all that good stuff was made by the AIs. Now, whether or not this has any impact on the overall story, who knows? we still don't know at this point in the game why the Empire has suddenly gone dark and all signals in and out have stopped running. Maybe there's aliens, maybe there's pirates, maybe the AIs have gone rogue. We don't know. The game's kind of feeding you a little bit of the lore and backstory a bit at a time to keep you invested. I really like the progression of the story here. And we can always ask Caliban for explanations on things. What do you want to know? Omnis, ask about this, ask about Neo-N, the starship fuel. So if you want more lore, the game gives you plenty of opportunities to get that lore. Not only during the tutorial, but during the actual game itself. But I'm just gonna ignore all of it because we're gonna try to skip past a lot of the dialogue to get to the actual gameplay, which we are currently in. So the next beacon is an anomalous signal. It could be anything. It could just be a giant gold asteroid. Well, it's not. It's another pirate ship. Technically not a pirate ship. Those are purple. The green ones are scrappers, which are like horrible mutant people. I'm gonna enjoy scrapping it over your dead bodies. Well, probably not. The battle is imminent. Good luck, Admiral. I like the transition too. It's very clean. Right, so the game is now tutorializing that this enemy is going to be fielding a fighter. Well, if you look in the fighter window that popped up here, it says fighter, massive damage bonus versus drones, melee damage 5 DPS, speed 0.9 cells per second. The primary combat in Crying Suns is kind of rock, paper, scissors-esque. You have fighters, drones, and frigates, and they're all good against one of the other types. Fighters are good against drones are good against frigates, and frigates are good against fighters. Now, you can have a fourth type that is kind of outside of the rock, paper, scissors triangle called cruisers, and cruisers are not strong or weak against anything else in particular. And you can also have different types of fighters, drones, and frigates. You can have cloaked fighters, you can have drones that explode, you can have frigates that attract enemy aggro. They kind of act like they have taunt. So it gets a lot more detailed than just rock, paper, scissors, shoot. But at least for the early game, this is primarily what we're going to be experiencing. So they're going to be sending out fighters. Well, we can send out frigates. Damage bonus versus fighters, which will give us a very easy victory against their initial squadron. And they only have one enemy squadron that they can field, so after we defeat this squadron, the combat will be over. The other difference is that drones are really fast and frigates are really slow. But to compensate, the frigates do more damage than the drones, but then to compensate for that, they all have the rock, paper, scissors elements in between them. So there's no real one thing is better than any of the others. They all have their advantages in their places. So we're just going to very easily take out this enemy ship here. Our frigates slowly chunking through that hull HP. And as a reward, we got fighters. You can get crew members, you can get scrap, you can get fuel, you can get guns. Thought we had yet another brush with death. At least our scanner detected the anomaly this time. Tell me more about these anomalies. Just random chance. Encountered anomaly, main mission. A lot of times the anomalies when they're an enemy ship that you have to fight, it says it's a negative outcome. That's a very positive outcome usually, because as long as you live, you get rewards from fighting enemy ships. But maybe that's just me. So this is another kind of story-based planet here. There's a small colony on the planet, and I am going to be skipping the dialogue. But Bowie, this little, survivalist scientist here, is giving us a lot of the story. He's saying that 20 years ago, the technology ceased. All of the AIs stopped operating. The AIs that were surgeons, the AIs that handled food production on the planet, everything shut down because they relied on this Omni-Tech, this AI technology. And after everything shut down, they had to survive on their own. They had to kind of relearn how to live and how to survive on this planet. That's when the pirates and the scrappers came and started trying to loot and pillage everything. And they're trying their best to actually continue to survive, but it's not looking good. Everything is it's slowly dying. And he gave us some fuel, which is very nice. Do you believe what he said, Admiral? Unfortunately, this explains everything that we've seen. Omni shut down, and that's why the scrappers run things now, because all of the AIs just stopped functioning. The other driving plot line here is that we have to find the mother of the scrappers and figure out what she knows. That's chapter 1 here, is the scrapper arc, I guess you could call it. So now we have a second squadron, and we can go down on an away mission onto this planet, because it does have a wreckage on the surface. So we're gonna do our little Mass Effect scanning here. There's an artifact, battleship wreckage. There are no major threats, and we can send one of our 2 officers out on this away mission. Here's your major threats. We have 1 chance of retreating during the mission if we don't like what's going on. And there's also predictions that have been made based off of our officers what the result of the mission is going to be. We can send Alexandra Souza, or we can send Christos Young. Either officer will survive. Alexandra will return with 0 to 44% of resources. Young will extract 51 to 81% of resources. Alexandra will get 0 to 5 commandos killed, and Christos will get 0 to 1 commandos killed. So really, there is a better officer to take on this mission. Clearly. Now, why would you ever take one officer over another? Well, that's because the skills of the officer, shown here on the right, determine the results of this. Because as the away mission progresses, you will have random events happen. It's all automatic, but random events will happen that will basically be skill checks. If you win the check, you get resources. You avoid combat. If you fail the check, you don't get resources. You get into combat. So you want to have a wide array of skills represented on your crew, so when you go out on these away missions, you can select the officer that's best suited for the mission. So we're gonna, yellow and green on everything. We're gonna have pretty good results from this. So we're gonna send an away mission down and see what those results are. Your officer can come back wounded or die, but because we're not getting into a lot of combat, we should be okay. So we immediately find the battleship wreckage. And because we didn't have a officer with the engineering skill, we did not get the battleship wreckage, which is probably just like 80 scrap or something like that. We had fighting, but we didn't have engineering skill. Please continue, don't retreat. So because we have piloting, we got 3 fuel. Because we have fighting, we avoided this combat. Because we had fighting, we avoided this combat. We did not have sharp senses, so we didn't get that resource cache. We had fighting, so we avoided that danger. Ooh, we didn't have erudition, so we got into a little bit of combat there. But that really should be all of the combat. It anticipated losing 0 to 1 commandos. That really just means 1 combat encounter, I would think. So we got a lot of resources, 73 resources and 3 fuel. You can see from the top left here. We're just gonna bring our officer and commandos back. Pure profit. Those away missions can be extremely valuable if you have the right skills. And that's why it's very important to have enough officers in order to fully meet the skill requirements for those away missions. So we'll go to the star map, and each node represents a system you can visit. Everything costs 1 fuel to get to. And you can also see the points of interest through the HUD here. And also we have a limited amount of time to get through the sector. We can't visit every beacon because just like FTL, we have a fleet pursuing us. I think this is probably the scrapper fleet. We could go back. I don't know why we would go back. Maybe there's an achievement for that. But we're just gonna push forward. We can see in these diamonds to the right of each system how many events there's gonna be. There's gonna be 3 here, 2 there, 4 there, 3 there. And we can choose our path. I'm just gonna go right once. Just to the adjacent system. And we are immediately in range of a station. An A-key research facility, sir. Looks inactive, but an Aki destroyer can't be too far away. We can contact, do a flyby, or continue on. So do we want to do a preemptive but more aggressive move, or just contact the station? Let's just contact the station. If there's a destroyer and we get in range of it and have to shoot it down, whatever. Recorded message. Despite our best efforts, number 11 died today, and because of the shutdown, it appears we won't be receiving additional test subjects. My team wants to pack it in, terminating research we've spent the last 5 years working on, but how can we give up now after all the work we've put in? Which is why I've decided to continue the research with myself as our next subject. Maybe we will succeed yet, despite the chaos that goes on all around us. Maybe we won't. I guess only time will tell. Well, that's dedication. We can investigate the station with 4 commandos. We don't know what's going to happen, but it doesn't have a yellow or red background on the choice to send commandos, so I imagine it's not going to be something horrible. Usually when you're making a decision like that, the game will indicate that you're making a decision. This is more of a check to see if you have commandos, I think. Place is empty. Can't blame them. This place is weird. Something tells me that wasn't Akara and her team. How do you want me to handle this one, sir? So Captain Lean is on the ship, and there's something on the station. You can continue your search. Go ahead. We sent 4 commandos over. They'll be fine. Commandos are cheap as well. Shit, the smell is strong now. We must be getting closer to whatever that thing is. Talk to me, Captain. What do you see? I feel like I'm in Aliens. Let's rock! Yeah! Hudson! Hicks! Talk to me, damn it! It's dark in here, sir. Real dark, but I think there's something in the corner over there. Take it down, soldiers! Hudson! Hicks? Answer me, damn it! Captain! Captain! Sir, they're gone. I'm the only one left. That thing, it tore my grunts to pieces, then crawled into a ventilation shaft. Oh god. Unless we got some kind of beast killer on board, there's not much else we can do here, sir. I'm a little rusty in that department myself. We have to send in Sigourney Weaver. She can do it. Send a specialist officer to the lab. Hunt this thing down. I hear you're the best at killing beasts, Lieutenant. I don't like to brag, it's unbecoming, but you know, as they say, so is modesty. I'm pretty sure no one says that. You want this beast dead? Then yeah, I'm the person to do it. I'm here, sir. That thing really did a number on our team. I feel like I'm standing on the floor of a slaughterhouse. It's hiding from me, sir. Can't say I blame it. I'd hide from me too. Must be getting closer. The smell's bringing tears to my eyes, tears of happiness. I love beast smell. Not something I would personally admit, says Caliban. Hold on, I think there's something crouched over there in the dark. There you are. Ugly sucker, aren't you? Well, what are you waiting for? Why is it laughing? It's dead, sir. Maybe that was her laughing. Sorry, now it's dead. Any idea what it was, Lieutenant? Not 100% sure, but I think it's that scientist, Dr. Akara. Her eyes. Damn thing had her eyes. I guess her experiment went a little off the rails. She's been guarding a nice collection of scrap. Probably took it off all the poor SOBs she's slain over the years. Bringing it back with me now. Before I go, do you want the head? Don't think that will be necessary, but thank you. Just thought I'd ask. Some like the head. So we got 97 scrap from the event by losing 4 commandos. Is that worth it? Technically, yes. Commandos are worth about 10. So we leveraged the commandos to get scrap to get more commandos plus other things in the future. That's the risk we take, but we got a little bit lucky having a officer who had the combat skill. They were able to go over there and seemingly easily destroy the xenomorph, but that's okay. So we have a hypercube. We still need to get fuel from this. We haven't even done this yet on this system. Before we do that though, why don't we upgrade our ship? There's a subsystem here called Fuel Scavenging Efficiency. It gives you a chance at getting more fuel. I'm gonna max that out immediately, and you can see we have a second bar. Gives us a second roll for additional fuel. There you go. Got 1 fuel. Considering how expensive fuel is, that pays for itself very, very quickly. Cool. So then we can go to a wreckage or a shipyard. I'm gonna go to the shipyard first, wreckage second. The wreckage is an away mission, and we would like to get more commandos beforehand, because the more commandos you bring, the likelier it is that you will get a positive outcome, because you have more commandos who can, you know, take the brunt of the combat from the away mission. CV ship, civilian ship, no activity. Let's send Captain Lich to do a flyby this time. Maybe they can see what's going on. Ghost ship, nothing here, no scrap, no fuel. Probably a scrapper got to the ship. What do you want to do about the ship? Well, now we can attempt to contact the ship. I guess on the previous encounter, maybe we could have done a flyby first. Maybe that would have changed the outcome. I don't know. Well, there's nothing here, unfortunately. Kind of wish that we could get some scrap from it, but I guess not. So there's a shipyard. Let's visit the shop. We can buy some commandos. Perfect. Now we're up to 10, so we can send all 10 out on an away mission. We can get a new augmentation, a new auxiliary system. Emergency retreat thrusters. Squadrons that are low on HP are faster. And tactical log neurosphere. It can be sold for 20 scrap per victory achieved while equipped. Victory is earned when a battle is won with no squadrons wrecked. A total victory. So you buy it for 100, and after 5 total victories with enemy ships, it sells for a net 0, and then if you go for longer, it's profit. That seems like it's something that pays out way in the future. It's far too slow for me. You can buy a new ship squadron. Fighter Minotaurus. It accelerates while moving in a straight line and then deals damage on impact. Or a cruiser. A cruiser is a ranged unit and takes damage at short range. It cannot attack melee units like the drones, the fighters, and the frigates. You have to deploy this at range, and it just does a lot of damage. That seems pretty cool. Let's buy that because it's interesting. I'll buy a little bit of fuel and then we will move on. I could also save my scrap and then maybe spend it at events. Don't attack, it's my first day on the job. Here, take the scrap, just leave me alone. I guess this is a pirate. I almost feel bad for that pirate, almost. 23 scrap. I guess the pirates are also scared of everyone, including the scrappers. The scrappers are the big baddies. The pirates are like, please no scrappers. So, we know who we're going to be sending out on this away mission, the same person we sent out last time. Green in all categories. They might not get the battleship wreckage, but if they get, 100 scrap and fuel and don't lose any commandos, that's very good profit. It sucks when you have a situation like this where you have, hey, let's go, 62 scrap from the battleship wreckage. It sucks when you have a situation like this where, it's green on the board, you're gonna get a lot of resources, you're gonna not lose commandos, your officer is gonna come back alive, and then you also don't have the one skill for the battleship wreckage, but we got a little bit lucky having the skill for the battleship wreckage. Please continue on, no one's gonna be dying on this mission. We got a little bit lucky, and as a result, hey, we're already up 149 scrap. You can see in the top left. What did I say? At least 100 scrap and fuel. We didn't get the fuel, but we got the scrap, and we can always buy fuel. So that is pure profit. Let's go back to the star map. And let's go to the next system over. This has 3 different anomalies, so this one should be interesting. As we keep making our way to the center of the Empire here. House Vicarelli Beacon, sir, and it seems to have an old message stuck in it. House Vicarelli Beacon, not even a scrapper would scrap that. Let's hear it. Right away, Admiral. Doesn't seem to be working. It looks like it wasn't high quality to begin with. House Vicarelli, truly the worst of the houses. It kind of feels a bit like the empire is like kind of run by corporate houses. House Vicarelli has like the worst corporate reputation. They make the cheapest shit. And our battleship is full of Telos tech, which is like the premier of the premier, the elite of the elite. That's why the scrappers and pirates want to loot our ship so badly, but this is just like a garbage beacon that's not even working anymore because it's just held together with duct tapes and paper clips. We got 4 fuel from that. That's pretty good. So let's go to our first anomalous beacon here and see what we got. Another dead civilian ship. We might get wreckage from this. We might get nothing. Who knows? So the ship collided with something at a high speed, and there may be scrap aboard. Well, let's try to scavenge some scrap. Not a bad little haul, if I don't say so myself. I've never seen that event fail. If we want in, it's a positive outcome. If we wanted to, we could spend the 236 scrap we have upgrading stuff, but to be perfectly honest, unless you're upgrading weapons or squadron docks, I don't really feel the need for that. Like, we would need another gun to put another gun on our ship, but at least right now, you know, even though this is the normal difficulty, this is still the first the first sector of the first chapter. Difficulty is still pretty easy. We don't need any of the other upgrades, really. I just want another gun or 300 scrap so I can get another squadron out. So we have another scrapper. There is no negotiating, only killing. And we get a look at a much more complicated tactical layout here. We have massive asteroids, small asteroid fields, which your ships can hide inside of, and the asteroids will protect your ships from damage. And we have turrets, which will fire on anything, my units or enemy units. This enemy ship has 4 squadrons that they're going to be sending out. They're initially sending out fighters. Hold on. They also have an augment on their ship. Squadron recovery is twice as fast, but they have less HP. This should make this a very easy fight for us, because if they have less HP, they're easier to take out. So we'll get frigates, and we will get a cruiser deployed as well. And while we're at it, why don't we also man our battleship? Because we have some battleship stations that we haven't been doing anything with. We can put Christos Zhang in the weapon station to give the effects of duration of effects created by weapons plus 50%. So we can put her in the weapons to increase the weapon effects that we do. And we can put Alexandra in the squadron station to increase our damage against non-patched units, which doesn't help us at all because all of our squadrons are at full health. By the way, it's worth pointing, you can guide your units along waypoints, use control. It's worth pointing out that one of the mechanics of the game is that the enemy battleship has squadrons, and once you kill them all, they don't have any more. And the reason for this is so that you're not stuck in a stalemate of you can't get through the enemy ship to hit their battleship and destroy it. But the player squadrons work differently. The player squadrons, if you ever lose a squadron, they're not gone forever. The squadron just becomes wrecked, and it'll come back. Whoops. Yeah, I didn't want to actually send that back. That's fine. Please go there. The squadron that gets destroyed will just become wrecked, and it'll have half health. That's the only negative. If it dies again, it just comes back at same half health that it had previously. So if you lose a squadron, it has less health, and that's the only real negative. If the enemy ship loses a squadron, it's gone for good. And that difference is so that there it is, you can see it right there. That difference is so that the player is never in a stalemate situation. As long as you're destroying enemy squadrons, you will eventually come out ahead. That's what that is there for, but it is different between the enemy and the player. So we have our giant cruiser that is going to hopefully destroy these fighters when they get in range. Yep. And we'll slowly move up. Ooh. We gotta make sure that we are out of range of the turret though, and we are. Actually, can I shoot the turret from here? I flippin' can, hell yeah. Because this thing has a range of 3. and the frigate that we have is melee range only. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to position the frigate and the cruiser in such a way that if the fighter attacks my frigate by getting into melee range, it's 3 spaces away from the cruiser because it has a range of 3. Actually, it has a range of 2 or 3 if you look at this. Because if I mouse over it, you can see that it does 11 damage in all of those tiles. So it actually has a larger range than I thought it did. Now, the enemy fighters are in the asteroid field. You can see how this works now. They are not taking damage. The asteroid field is taking damage because they're hiding in it. But once we destroy the asteroid field, we can destroy the ships themselves. And now we're just going to take out the enemy squadron hangar. Our longbow cruiser is just destroying the enemy hull. Good lord. That's pretty good. So yeah, we got a negative anomaly here, warring battleship. But I mean, that's very good for us. I guess it's not negative, it just means danger, because we came out ahead. We got a lot of scrap from that. Well, not a lot, we got 50 scrap. Passing through some magnetic interference, buckle up, could get bumpy. Got chief for you. Sir, we got a situation down here. There's an isolated fire in C9. The storm must have been to blame. C9, that's a primary squadron hangar. We can put it out using Neo-N foam, fuel, or we can, I don't know why fuel is a fire suppressant, or we can let it burn knowing it won't spread to other sections but suffering squadron damage in the process. So basically, just like when you lose a squadron in combat, our squadrons could become wrecked, and they'll have half health until we get them repaired at a station. So we could use 2 fuel or let the fire burn out. If we were low on fuel, we probably want to let it burn. If we have a lot of fuel, we could pay the cost and put out the fire. I'm gonna let it burn though, just to kind of see what happens. So we did suffer some damage, and I hope so, Chief. I have a soft spot in my heart for that squadron. So we lost, well, we didn't lose. We wrecked a fighter and a frigate. Now they have half health. And we can check that here. We can just see our fighter and our frigate are now at half health. And once we go to a shipyard and get those repaired, then they'll actually be at a... No, go away. There we go. Once we pay the cost, we can actually get those things repaired again. So that was nothing. Let's go back to the star map and get out of this sector, because that was not very worthwhile. So let's go up. If we go up and then right, we can get as many jumps as possible, being ahead of the enemy fleet. I have no idea what happens if you actually get caught. I've never done that before. I've never had the balls. But if it's anything like FTL, it does not mean that your run is over. It probably just means that you have a very tough combat, and if you succeed, you get to move on. How it works in FTL is that you get no benefit from the combat, so it's not like you can farm by doing the combats over and over again. So I would imagine something similar is done here to keep it fair. Or maybe in Crying Suns, the game says, hey, if you can survive it, take the advantages. Take the 50 scrap per battleship you can kill, but the battleships have like 50 squadrons and 6 guns. Good luck. It's a civilian transporter ship. Good thing we found you there. This piece of junk's about to blow and take us all out with it. How can we help your ship? Rescue us before the overheated engine of ours blows and takes us out with it. Better yet, a skilled pilot could get us close enough to put a cryo clamp on the outside of their engine room, Admiral. This should give us plenty of time for a rescue. So, if we didn't have a specialist pilot, we could have a 50-50 chance of succeeding or failing by sending commandos to evacuate. But we have a specialist pilot. They can get us close enough to put a device on their engine to cool it down. You heard the man, put a clamp on the engine room. Do it fast. You got it, sir. I'll come back when I'm done. This officer has been the best officer. They have done everything. Should give Leon and his troops time to get those civilians out of there before it blows. Many thanks, Admiral. My thoughts turned dark when I imagined what would have happened to us had you not been out here. Some of us have basic training. It was a requirement. Now we're not well-oiled killing machines, but we'll gladly put our lives on the line for you. We got 4 commandos. And the rest of the people, I don't know what happened with them. Presumably we sent them on their way at some point. Scavenge some fuel. We got 2. Good enough. We're back up to 286 scrap. You get scrap very quickly. And I'm gonna go to the unidentified beacon first. We'll go to the mercenary outpost when we leave, just so I can maybe get some more money beforehand. Pirate battleship with its radar off. Looks like we have the upper hand. We can sneak up on it and offer it a chance of surrender. We can ambush, or we can continue on. You're not looking for a battle. We're obviously gonna fight it. We'll sneak up and offer it a chance of surrender. We'll corner the pirate, but give it a chance of surrender. From what I understand, pirates don't do that. Literally 2 sectors ago, Caliban, we had pirates give us money for free. Don't tell me they don't surrender. You know nothing. Even if they don't surrender, we'll still have the advantage. In theory. What are you doing there, Imperial? Our weapons are aimed at you and our squadrons are ready to attack. Surrender or we will bury you. Surrender, guess you failed Pirates 101 at the Academy. Pirates don't surrender. Again, literally 2 sectors ago. But you've ambushed the enemy, your units are deployed, and your weapons are ready to fire. I guess maybe what could have happened on the one option is we would have destroyed them with no combat, but now we actually have to go into the combat. So we ambush them, so we have the advantage of everything is deployed and ready to go. That's fine. And we have a gun out, we have our ships ready to go. What do they have? They have the same laser weapon that we do. This laser gun can attack ships, by that I mean squadrons, fighters, whatnot, or it could attack our battleship directly. They are also deploying a fighter and a frigate, which are both patched. What we are going to do is we are going to deploy our cruiser and our fighters. Our gun, we are not going to fire our gun yet though, because what I'm going to do is go into these asteroid fields while they're deploying their squadrons, and then when they deploy their squadrons, we're going to take advantage of the situation by annihilating their ships with our superior firepower of Cruiser Mark II longbow that does 11 damage per second. 22 damage per shot, it looks like. That's pretty great. And now that that's been taken care of, we will go after their squadron dock. They have a pretty long recharge on their squadron right now just because of the fact that we have destroyed a couple of their ships. And our fighters have 33 HP, which is more than enough right now. Their gun is about to fire though. I don't know what they're gonna shoot at. One minor problem I'm noticing though is that I am gonna have to retreat with my fighters. Enemy weapon is ready to fire, but it's not firing yet. They shot at our cruiser, who cares? They have a pilot in their hull. It's giving them proximity defense, deals 2 damage per second to adjacent enemies, to your battleship. Our fighters are taking a little bit of damage being so close because they're adjacent to the battleship hexes, but our cruiser is far enough away with its ranged attack that it can just lob shots in for free. So we destroyed the enemies. We gave them a chance to surrender, they didn't take it. Well, sucks to be them. We'll go to the mercenary outpost. We can probably repair some squadrons. And there's another scrapper ship. Scrapper and a Kosh minefield. Looks like it got the best of it. Anyway, your birds can scrap the ship. In those mines, it's risky. Could damage our birds. You feel like rolling the dice? Absolutely. Minefield or not, we need that scrap. Form a team and get on it, Captain. I'm tired of studying fight footage anyway. Does that mean you're ready to die, or are you ready to put that studying into practice? Took some careful maneuvering, but we extracted the scrap without incident. 47. So we have 392 now. Very nice. We'll visit the shop. We can... no officer to heal. I guess we can't repair squadrons. We can heal officers, which is unfortunate. What we can do, though, is buy another gun. Seems like a pretty good idea. We can always use guns. We can get another officer, and honestly, that seems like a pretty good idea. We have no one who has any spycraft skills, so if we just buy that spycraft officer, Shock 11. Hull repair is good. You know, why don't we get hull repair? This way we can put them in the hull section of our ship. So Joseph Wilson, Now we have a minor amount of hull repair during combat, so if we do take a little bit of damage, as long as we can keep them off of our battleship, we'll heal that damage over time. And do we want to buy anything else? Not really. I'll buy some fuel and commandos, and then what we're going to do is upgrade our weapon docks on our battleship so we can actually use the second laser. Caliban's tentacles are kind of in the way, but now we have 2 laser guns, piercing laser guns, instead of just 1. Hey, you know what? Any benefits I will take. As we progress on to the second to last system in this sector, the last one being, I guess, kind of like a boss battle at the end of every sector, at least the end of the sectors on this chapter. The, mini-boss scrapper ship that is guarding our way towards the mother scrapper. Scrapper battleship. Big tech and new. I've been dreaming of this. Well, is your standard fight. But we have another gun! They do have 8 squadrons though, the number is going up, but if we can just destroy their ship, then we don't have to go through their squadrons. Patched boomer drones deals 10 damage on death and generic fighters, and they have a flak cannon. It targets random cells, but does not affect the battleship. So, it's very inaccurate, but it does a lot of damage if it lands. Gotta be careful. So they have drones and fighters. Bonus damage versus frigates, bonus damage versus drones. I guess we want to deploy a fighter of our own, and we don't have to deploy the cruiser, but what else are we going to deploy? Drones? I think we can deploy the cruiser still. Because as long as the enemies attack our fighter, the cruiser can hang out in the back and just take shots. So I feel like that's okay, but I want it to be deployed here, so it doesn't just shoot at the turret immediately on launch. And like last time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna send our fighter into the asteroid field to be a little bit protected. And our cruiser is just going to, take pot shots at range as they approach the asteroid field. And our fighters haven't even taken any damage yet. Lovely. So avoid the turrets, but get up here so we can shoot the enemy squadron hangar. Because if we shoot that squadron hangar, we can disable it temporarily and then not have to worry about the ships that they're going to be launching, which is 2 fighters. I might want to back up a little bit. Ooh. I was going to say just so that I wouldn't get kind of outflanked, but I guess we were able to do. Oh, actually, our gun's up. We can just shoot them. But we were set up well enough that, and we have enough HP, and our cruiser destroyed one of the fighters immediately. That it all worked out well. So we locked their squadron system for a second, taking shots. Doesn't matter what we shoot at, they're dead. Easy fight. Warring battleship, but still positive for me. Only 1 fuel though. Might want to buy some more later. Alright, let's go to the auto factory. Another away mission, and we have another officer to maybe ask Caliban when Omni factories. We can get some more lore. Let's just communicate with the planet. And we have another officer that might be better suited for this away mission. No luck communicating with the factory. Guess we'll just move on to the next destination. There might be something where if you talk to Caliban, then we get some option that we can do with the planet. I'm just gonna say that that's probably not gonna happen. But what there is an away mission. No major threats. The only major threat I've seen is like a giant sandworm a la Dune. So, or Dune or the sandworms from Beetlejuice. But I don't know if there can be other major threats. I imagine in the non-demo version of Crying Suns, there's a lot more things all around. But we're gonna send an officer. There's only one officer that's really worth sending out. Highest chance of survival, resource extraction, and commando survival. Go do it. Bring me back that sweet, sweet loot, and if you can, Get that battleship wreckage. Was it battleship wreckage or was it something else? I forgot already. Auto factory, of course, is the entire point of the planet. No pilot, so we didn't get the special option there. You know, if there's like not an enemy escape pod, but if there's an escape pod or a cryopod, you could get a crew member. If there is a factory, I don't know what you could get. Maybe you could get a squadron. If it's a weapon, if it's a crashed battleship, maybe you can get a gun. It's not just scrap and fuel. Scrap and fuel is just the most likely outcomes. So there was only one combat that we got into. We picked up 96 scrap and 3 fuel, which is a lot of scrap and fuel. And we'll go to the mercenary outpost and then go to the next sector after this. Incoming transmission. If you're looking for supplies, you've come to the wrong place, Admiral. We're fresh out. The NS Odysseus is not looking for assistance. I take it you want to help us then, huh? That'd be a first. How can we help? Honestly, I'm not sure you can, but we could always use some scrap. Here, have 14. It's yours. Thank you. I was going to mention this, but we got a battleship weapon. I don't know if it works. It's been here collecting dust. It's yours if you want it. Tesla Field Generator Mark 1. Okay, I mean, we helped him out and we got a gun. Damage, 4 DPS, a delay of 13 seconds, damage over time duration, 12 seconds. But it can't affect the battleship. So I guess what this does is it puts like a static on the field that just does a low amount of damage over time. And if you can keep an enemy ship within the static, it can do a lot of damage. Interesting. The point and click laser is probably more my style though. At least for the time being. X-beam. Oh, I like the impact zone on the right side of the screen there. It's just a giant X. No wonder they call it the X-beam. Does a decent amount of damage too. Dark Matter Cannon Mark II. Units cannot move through the cells for 8 seconds. So you can force enemies to move. We have no officers to heal. And we can always get a new officer if we want. Considering we have the scrap for it, we might as well. And what we should do is make sure that if we get an officer, they have a different combination of skills than any officer we have, or a good ability we want. Because the combination of skills are important to keep in mind for the away missions. Maybe your Christos Zhang, who has a piloting and a fighting pair of skills, will not get that battleship wreckage if they don't have the explosives necessary to blow open the outer door, you know? Maybe you need someone that has a particular combination of skills in order to do something. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get a... Sure, Paulo Ciol with the Battlefield Autocrafter ability, if fully charged, spawns a crafted drone on any non-crafted squadron death. So basically, if one of our squadrons blows up, we get a mini squadron out of it every 30 seconds. I don't care about that, but buying this officer means we gain a skill total, which is the explosive skill, and also we have a new officer that has this particular pair of skills for away missions. So we're slightly better off. And we can also sell something. I will sell the Tesla Field Generator. I will sell... I'm not gonna sell anything else though, that's good enough. And I think that was it. Yep. We could upgrade our ship. I mean, we do have a lot of money. Probably, I mean, you know what? We could have actually used the gun. I could have gotten myself another weapon dock for 90 scrap. That's pretty cheap. But if I save scrap, I can get more squadrons, which is probably more important. Because it does take your guns a certain amount of time to charge up on a fight where your squadrons are just out from the get-go. And then we can go to the end here and fight whatever this boss encounter is on the exit. And this is our first sector out of 3 on the first chapter in Crying Suns. So I think I am going to end this little Let's Look At here because I don't want to spoil any of the additional plot that's going to be happening in this next encounter, because we're going to have a little bit of a discussion with one of the scrapper underlings. Maybe even we'll have a communication with Mother herself. I don't know. I don't remember. But Crying Suns. It's a fantastic game. Great visuals, great music, great sounds, great... I played the shit out of FTL. I played several hundred hours at least for YouTube, 100%ing the game on a brand new save file. This is right up my alley, because this is FTL, but more of it. I like the change in combat, where it's not just ship versus ship. You actually have squadrons that you can send out there and you have to manage. And I'm kind of curious to see how this game will progress in the later sectors of this chapter and the other chapters themselves. The demo contains the first 2 sectors of the first chapter, so you can't complete the first chapter with the demo. You'd have to buy the game for that, but I like the fact that the game even has a demo to begin with. Not a lot of games have demos these days, especially not ones that are, mechanically complete. Everything, gameplay-wise, all of the elements are here. There's just a much shorter array of events, of weapons, and whatnot. I've seen the same events like 10 times just kind of playing through the first sector a couple of times to experience the gameplay. And, I have to imagine there's hundreds of new events that you're going to get on different runs. I hope so. But with the fact that there are different chapters, maybe certain events can only be found in certain chapters, and so it is a slightly more diluted pool. I wouldn't know, though, because I have not played any other chapter. I haven't bought the game yet. I probably will, because this is something that, again, is definitely up my alley, and I'm definitely looking for a bit more of a deeper plot-based FTL with much more darker plot and storyline. But yeah, Crying Suns. This has been a good game so far. I'm looking forward to playing more of it. I might put it up on YouTube, I might not, but check it out. Support the developers. Alt-Shift. If you do pick it up or you like the game, let them know I sent you. And we'll take a look at another game next time. But I hope you enjoyed what you've seen here. Thank you very much for watching. Like the video if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. You can check me out on Twitch for when I go live, when I stream. You can support me on Twitch, Patreon, and Streamlabs. And I hope to see you here again for the next Let's Look At.